Welcome. This is First Mid-Atlantic FLL New Coach Training, specifically deep diving on the project, robot game, and core values. My name is Frank Larkin. I am the first Mid-Atlantic program delivery partner for PA East. The map you're looking at is a map showing our region. We cover PA East as well as New Jersey North. FIRST itself is a global robotics community preparing young people for the future. They're based up in Manchester, New Hampshire. If you ever go up there, you should stop in and say hello. Their mission is to try to get kids to put down the phones and think about their futures. And we're here to help them do that. I work for an organization called First Mid-Atlantic. We're a 501c nonprofit that has a license with FIRST to run FIRST LEGO League programs in PA East as well as New Jersey North. First Mid-Atlantic also runs FRC competitions in PA East, all of New Jersey, and Delaware. Okay, so FIRST LEGO League is run by FIRST, but we run it for them. As I said, I'm a program delivery partner. And as I said, we're only PA East and New Jersey North. I'm Frank Larkin. I'm the FLL director. I'm a paid employee of First Mid-Atlantic. Ernie DeSico has been the PDP for New Jersey North, but he and I now share responsibility for that area, but he still is a PDP working with us. Okay, I just want to touch on briefly on FLL Team Info. Basically, this is a way for you to get familiar with all of the information that's out there. And so you can click FLL Challenge Team Info. Let's show you how we would do this. So I'll bring in. So this is Mid-Atlantic Robotics, right? What you do is you go over here to FLL. They gave me three letters over here, FLL. So it's midatlanticrobotics.com/FLL. And this is our pages. So there's a menu up here, but then there's a menu down here. This is the menu that you want to think about. So what I've tried to do is come in here and put information, in this case, FLL Challenge Team Info, and it's broken up into different sections. And these sections are targeted at making sure that you have all of the information that you need to do what we're doing. Some of the sections are coaches required reading, team required documentations, FMA, FLL, FMA, I spelled that backwards, FM participation and registration, storing your challenge table pieces. That's a thing I just came up with this year for putting your pieces all back in the box and making it so that it's easy to transport. I recommend you do that. So it's very easy to bring all of those pieces where you're going. Coach training, things about the FLL project, something called the MAR Challenge tools, and Spike Prime. A lot of this is discussed in the previous video. So if you would go there, we're not going to go and discuss it again. This year's game is Masterpiece. Basically, Masterpiece is it's all about art and how art is done, including movies, videos, internet, anything that has to do with art and entertainment is covered in this topic. And this is the table mat that you will get. The previous video, FLL 101, describes a lot of this, so you can go see that video. So a lot of the consolidated information from FIRST is on the FIRST Seasons page, and you can see all the kinds of things that are described there. The previous video on 101 has all of that. You can go back there and see it all, but this is a great place to start. In fact, there are two of these pages that have different information, but everything you would want to know is stored there. All right, so now we're going to talk about the judging process. Starting back in 2019, we used to have it where each discipline was judged in its own room. We don't do that anymore. We call it consolidated judging. There'll be 3 judges, and there are no experts. a judge, and I highly recommend that you think about going to one of these things and becoming a judge, because it's a great way for you to see what goes on behind the scenes and lend your voice to how we do things. It's not just us doing it, you're part of this, and so we want your voices heard. So there'll be a minimum of 3 judges in the room. Additional judges could be there because it's nice to have training judges. As I said, no experts. All the judging information is available on the FLL seasons page. We won't talk about that here because we talked about that in the previous video. Judges are looking to see if teams understand what they are presenting, not at a college level, but at a level to explain it to others, right? We're not asking for diagrams about piezoelectric devices, and I'll talk about that in a minute. For the project judging, we're asking you to go out and think about the topic, go talk to experts, go on a field trip, go find experts in this business. If you know an actor or an actress, go talk to them, have your team talk to them and ask questions. Solving real world problems in this industry is what we're trying to get your kids to think about. So think of it from that standpoint. We want your kids to become experts on whatever it is that they're thinking about, right? And in the project judging, you're going to come up with a solution to the problem, to a problem. Teams are going to research a real world problem in this field, in this challenge theme, right? And you're going to come up with innovative solutions to that problem. Some teams actually go as far as creating a product, a real product that they patent. I'm not telling you to do that, but it's why are we doing it? We're doing it because we want the kids to delve into the problem, right? Let them sit there when they're watching TV or something and get the gears churning in their head. And you will see them one day coming in. One kid will come in and go, I got it. Look at this. That's what we want. We want them to experience the eureka moments. So now let's talk about the Masterpiece Project. This is the focus of what it's going to be doing. I think the place you need to look is in the team meeting guide, page 4. It states, children learn how to share your own hobbies and interests while learning about experts in museums and theaters and other creative fields. Right? That was good, and that's from the team meeting guide, but you want to look at the Masterpiece Challenge overview. You get to that by going to midatlanticrobotics.org, midatlanticrobotics.com/FLL. This is our menu. You come over here, challenge FLL team info, go down to challenge team info. Now you're going to jump to the topics. Here are the topics. Under the topics, we talked about it already, is coaches required reading. You come down here and you're going to go to FLL game and seasons page. All right. Unfortunately, FIRST is putting up 2 pages, the seasons page and FLL game and seasons page. So it's kind of confusing. All right. But this is the one you want. You go here. You're going to come here, and then you're going to come down to challenge overview. Okay. So it talks about all the different parts of the game, but for specifically for here, we're worried about the innovation project. And right here is what we really want to look at. How can you use technology and the arts to help engage others and increase participation in what you love to do? And then read all of these things down here, and you'll get it. You'll get the idea of what you want your students to do. So if you have a student that has an unusual idea, pick that. And how can we make it interesting to people? There's a way to do it. So what kind of field trips could you go on? You could, for example, go to local groups and ask them, hey, we would like to come visit your movie theater or your playhouse. And there you can ask them to explain how it all works, right? This is something these kids have never seen. I'm talking about the behind the scenes. How could we do a movie, for example, to explain to people our hobby? Or how could we do a play or do some kind of a play to show them what our hobbies are? Okay. And you ask your students to ask questions. How does that work? How does this work? Why do you do it this way? Why do you do it that way? The idea is to get them into something that they've never seen before. Solutions has to be, identify a real world problem, create an innovative solution, create a solution, and share your research and solution. What do we mean by share? Go back to those people, give the presentation to those people and say, what do you think we could change? You want to share your information with the school. You may want to talk to teachers in the school. You may want to talk to parents. You may want to talk to industry leaders. But it's very, very important that you don't just create the solution, but you share it with others and get feedback. Okay? Share with audiences that can benefit from the solution, and maybe they give you good feedback. If you need to, you could consider getting a patent on it. You could call the patent department, and they would be glad to talk to you how to go through getting a patent. In fact, a friend of mine did a video on that, and I haven't put it up yet, but I may get around to doing that. Okay? We don't want you to reinvent the wheel. We want you to do something that should be realistic, scalable, and supported by research and development. And you can build on others' ideas and solutions. So you're going to have to go present to the judges, and we refer here to the FML Challenge team info pages and the first pages, the first season pages. Your presentation is going to be 5 minutes, and it must be live, no videos. Some people say, oh, we're going to do a commercial, and they come in with a 2-minute commercial. No. The judges, you must show the judges that all 3 steps of the project have been completed, right? The 3 we just talked about. The identify, create, and share, right? Must show that the project was relevant to the season's challenge, okay? Try not to go over 5 minutes, or the judges may interrupt you, okay? In fact, if you can do it in shorter than 5 minutes, do it, because then they can ask you more questions. So the judges Q&A, they want to hear about the process. They want to hear about the potential of the solution and what is needed to make it a reality. Okay? If possible, they want to hear from all the students. Sometimes teams will only have, 1 child talk or 2. Not lately, everybody. You want everybody. If you're going to do a skit, everybody has part of the script, okay, of the skit. And that's very important. You want a child to project, work with them, to project, to get them to speak to the back of the room, okay? Very important, because sometimes kids mumble, and it's because they're not sure. And you tell them, don't worry about it. This is all and you can't make a mistake. We've had kids crumble because they made a mistake. And you tell them, you're going to make a mistake. It's okay. We expect you to make mistakes, because none of us are perfect. We do it all the time. If you make a mistake about what you're reading, just stop, go back, and pick up where you left off. Don't worry about it. Make them feel at ease. The judges are not there to judge against you. We're there because we're so happy that these kids are doing this stuff. Very, very important. We do have something called the Innovative Solutions Award, and First Mid-Atlantic is offering it. It's a separate FLL regional award given to a team judge to have the best solutions. All of the regions in our FMA, FLL footprint will go to our championship event, our FRC championship event, and they will present there. And you may want to bring your teams there, and you can see what these teams have done. All right. That competition is at Lehigh, at the Stabler Arena, and it is held in April. So you can look out for that. It's really a lot of fun for the kids to go and see how that's FRC. The robots there are 150 pounds. Okay, so now robot development. Robot development, the biggest thing is consistency. Okay, that's your biggest problem. It will work sometimes at home. It will not likely work on the competition field. That's why you have to use the sensors, Luke, right? Right? Find out ways to detect the lines, okay? Actually, my big one is learn to use the gyro. The gyro will help you. And in the stuff that I present, you'll see how that works. In fact, the tools that FIRST provides you have all of that built into it. I just did it my way because it allows you to actually see how it actually works. Okay, so you can use their tools because they follow the same kind of stuff. Okay, you also want to use the fixed assets on the fields like walls or fill elements to straighten and orient your robot sometimes. And try to build a robust robot design so things aren't falling off. Make it so that you can easily change the parts out, right? and know how the field is placed within the table. Some people complain, well, the mat was not placed up against the back wall. There's no rule that says it has to be. So when you're lining up your robot, like you're going to use the mat lines to line up your robot, line it up using the mat's lines, not the back wall. Okay, very, very important. We see this all the time. Team goes out there, wait a minute, it's not set up the same way. Well, there's no rule that says it has to be. Okay, and make the field setup, how the field is set up, the student's responsibility, including where all of the elements are supposed to be, and any problems on the field before a round start, they have to bring it up to a referee. In fact, what you may do is have them set the field up, and then you go as a game to break the monotony of it. Go change a few things around and see if they can figure out what changed. Right? All right, guys, go look at the field. A couple of things changed. Right? You're going to have, you want to introduce some problems. For example, bumpy mats. You may want to put some stuff underneath. Lighting challenges, especially if you're using the light sensors. Bumpy walls, bumpy mats. I mean, you can use all of that to throw some, towards the end, throw some problems at your robot. I know for a fact if it's using the gyro, you won't have any problem with that. But again, learn how to use that kind of stuff because it's very, very important. What do you program in? There's a website, FLL Challenge Wiki. In fact, I might click that. Let's see what happens if I click that. You can see here, these are all the different Spike variables, right? All kinds. Here's Spike Python. I don't know if anyone's into Python. I happen to love Python. This is the blocks, the word blocks, the latest and good. There's EV3, right? Mindstorms, Python, Labs. And they actually don't list some of the other stuff that's still out there or should be out there. And they go into some explanation about what this is. Okay? Some teams, their NXTs are still out there, but you're not going to be wanting to use an NXT. I started with those, and it drove me nuts.
Don't forget to take out your trash tonight.
Thank you. Stop. Anyway, so those I should really remove this because the NXT, actually the NXT is allowed, but I don't think anybody has it. All right, next page. So the new tools, we talked about it before. I have a Google Slides presentation. If you go look at the team info, it's all there. I will be getting this out, the 3.0 version out this week, and I'll send out a team update. So we'll talk about it next week. Robot design judging. So you can bring the robot and a computer on battery power, I suggest, because you don't want to have to screw around plugging it in. And there will be no competition table in the judging room. It used to be that there was. And the problem was, well, what if your robot doesn't work right in front of the judges? The kids freak out. So that's not good. So you're going to do a robot presentation. Be prepared to discuss the robot and the design process. You cannot include any videos or runs. If you want to hold the robot up in front of them as you're talking about it, you can point to different things. And you, again, may have different kids speak different parts of that. Okay? The judges are then going to do 5 minutes of mechanical design, programming, strategy, innovation. They're going to talk to you, ask you all kinds of different questions. All right? Now, sample questions. I'm not going to read all of these questions, but there's a bunch of questions they could ask. You know, how many attachments, how many of this, how many of that. So you can review some of these questions. There is a rubric you can get. And what the judges are trying to do is satisfy every one of those items in the rubric. So think about that. You can read that. Now, I like to talk about the concept of knowing versus understanding. Okay? So a student says, oh, our robot follows the line. The judge says, well, how does it do that? The judge, if they know it, it says, oh, well, it uses the light sensor. That might be all the kid knows. Okay? Understanding is it gets a number from the light sensor indicating the brightness and darkness of the mat. Okay? And then it might go on to display what do we do when we see the differences. The same thing with the gyro. It gives you a number, left or right. What do you do with it? All right, minus or plus, what do you do with it? Okay. Now, the problem is some of this stuff, like with the gyro, might be hidden in the programming that they give you. In the stuff I give you, it's all out there in its own my block. So it does explain to you how it works. And the stuff that I did, the presentation and the video that I did explains that. So it might be good for the kids to understand it. I like to use the example of a wheelchair and a line. You're sitting in a wheelchair. The kids will understand. How do you make it go forward? You push the two wheels together. Well, what happens if you go a little left? How do you bring it back? You say, they go, oh, well, you come back. I said, do you go real hard or easy? You go easy. Why? Because it's only a little off. If you go too hard, right? So you can walk them through that, right? And they will understand it. They will understand it because there's some very simple things about how that works. Okay, so you want to keep your answers short, and show that students understand versus have knowledge. Do not go into long technical explanations about how it works on the electronical mechanical level. For example, a kid was telling us, well, the gyro, was a piezoelectric device, and you go, no. What does it do for you, and what do you do with that information? That's what we want, right? Too detailed, judges may stop you, right? What does this device or sensor give you, and how do you use it? Short answers, okay? That show understanding. That's what you want, right? Short answers allow times for more questions. If you take up 3 minutes on one answer, you kind of haven't really given the judges the opportunity to ask you more questions, and that's not good. Okay. What do you do if a student doesn't know an answer? Train them. If a kid messes up, it's okay. Don't panic. Do not feel bad. Okay? It's going to be new to them, right? Don't try to make stuff up in an answer. Simply say, I do not know, or that is all I know. Okay? It will leave more time for questions or others. If someone else is an expert on that topic, work on having the child say, well, I don't know, but Jeff over there, he knows all about that. And Jeff can say, well, here's how that works. Again, short answers, but understanding, right? Again, finally, the judges are not trying to trip anyone up. We want them all to succeed and feel good about what they did. Okay? Okay, core values. So at the end of all of this, you're going to get 3 minutes of core values, and they're going to ask you, well, what do you think about core values? What is core values? And you can actually show the core values really well in the team dynamic when they're going back and forth. If you have one kid that likes to answer all the questions and jumps and steps on everybody else, that's a problem. So you have to coach them. Look, you got to let everybody answer. They all paid their money. You may think you're the smartest one here, but they all are allowed to answer. So you have to work. Everybody's got to work together. Okay? And so core values is, and I've seen it, teams that just didn't have this right, and others that were just beautiful. They were very nice to each other. They helped each other. Kid dropped a paper, the other kid picked it up, and the kid who dropped it didn't even stop talking, but the other kid picked it up and gave it to him. I mean, that shows teamwork. You're now a team, and that's what this is all about. Okay? And if a team comes over to your team to look at your robot, don't not show them, show them. All right? Oh, here we did this, here we did that. This was pretty cool. Oh, that thing was tough. Because now what it does is it gets the story, it gets all the teams to begin to talk to each other and share information and enjoy the camaraderie of everybody having to go through the same process. It's really very, very important. Okay? So here's a page about core values. I'm not going to read it all. I think I've really talked about it. Gracious professionalism, Woody Flowers. It's a way of doing things that encourages high quality work, emphasizes the value of others, and respect individuals in the community. You do not want a team full of alphas. Okay? In fact, I suggest go read a TED Talk about super chickens, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Okay? We don't want that. We want everybody to contribute in the way that they can contribute. And most importantly, we want to have fun. We enjoy and celebrate what they're doing. More on gracious professionalism. Here are some examples, and work this out with your kids, right? So Dean Kamen, who runs all of this, created this idea of co-opetition. Okay, co-opetition and competition. Once you've mastered the skill, you teach it to someone else you have, so that everyone can do better the next time. Sharing a battery pod. I know we've done it all the time. I mean, I had people when I was at a competition, can you help us figure this out? And I'd walk over to that team because I usually did software and that kind of stuff. And we would go and help them. Anybody is willing to help anybody else. And so it's great. And cooperation, but cooperation, yeah, basically means you're competing, but everybody wins if we cooperate. And so that's really what we're talking about. Okay, I'm going to make it so you guys can come in, and I'll take more. This is the end of it. I want to thank everybody. I just want to thank everybody and have a great season. I will open it up now. Let me make it so you can unmute. Okay, and if anybody has a question, by all means.
Hi, Frank. This is George again. I have two questions. One is like I watched my son doing that. The rotation, let's say the wheel rotation. You put 6 rotations, but each time it stops at a different distance. So to me, it's like
how fast are you going?
Not that fast.
Okay, so here's the question. It's actually first of all, it's never going to be precise. The next question is, what do the wheels look like? Are they clean or dirty?
Quite clean, not used much yet.
Well, I can tell you that I have demonstrations that I do, and they work 95% of the time. And I'm using wheel rotations.
Okay. That's good.
Now, if you use the tools the way First has them, you're saying, when you say they're not precise, how close are they?
Half inch usually, like the difference. But when you try to do precise, half inch is a big deal, right?
Yeah, well, yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
Okay.
I just know that I know the tools that I've written are pretty precise. The first stuff should be pretty precise. I mean, the new 3.0 might be better, and you need to look at that. I don't know that I could answer your question because I'm not sure. I mean, you could put that question out to First and say to them, what are we doing wrong? Because we're expecting, you do this 6 times, it should be somewhat the same.
Right. Okay. Then the second question, I sense like that light sensor plays a quite important role, but this time when you really look at the map, right, whether it's on purpose or not on purpose, it puts tons of those colorful things there, and depending on the lighting, and that light sensor might struggle to find the line there. How to deal with this kind of challenge?
Okay, so the lights, the sensors allow you to operate in 2 modes. Are you aware of that? One is color, and the other one is reflectivity.
Okay.
So if you use color, you're going to get a number from 0 to 10, white being 10, and black being 0. And you'll get blue and red and yellow and all of that as a number. Okay, but you can set the system to turn it to reflectivity, and then it'll give you a reflectivity from 0 to 100. And so when I set up my line following, if you go look at the MAR tools from the last season, 2.0, I explain how all of that works, okay? And I use reflectivity. And so I might say, I know all through this path that anything that's light or white is going to be up of a value of, let's say, 33. Anything below 33 is going to be dark. And that's how I do it. And it works pretty well.
Okay. Thank you.
And I would suggest go look at the video that I did for last year, and you'll get an idea how it works. There were some changes between 2.0 and 3.0, so that's why I need to put out a different kit.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Frank.
You're welcome. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good season.